Hey, very good evening to everyone. Welcome to another Monday night's racing here at SimRace Africa. I'm Ryan Hill with you in the booth covering commentary and stream TV cameras for tonight. And we are back with another round of the simST, the Super Touring cars, out on Raceroom. And we are at the Sepang North circuit tonight. It's just a portion of the full GP circuit, and obviously the North as is in the name. A circuit designed by the famous Hermann Tilke from Germany, who's gone on to design many other circuits, especially on the F1 calendar, for Shanghai, Sakura, Istanbul, Marina Bay, Yas Marina, you name it. And yeah, here we are at Malaysia, Sepang, and I'm quite looking forward to the racing here tonight. The racetrack's still used today, unfortunately not for Formula 1, but there's lots of Grand Prix motor racing that happens there. GT World Challenge, the Asia series of TCR of course as well, Super GT, lots of cool stuff. It's quite an awesome circuit. It's also quite famous for having a lot of rain and wet, but I can tell you out there tonight that the circuit is looking nice and dry. Speaking of that weather forecast, here it comes. So drivers can expect two races today, of course. There's a short 20-minute sprint race, followed by a just over double longer 45-minute race 2, where the top 10 drivers coming out of race 1 will have their grid reversed. So morning race for race 1, scattered clouds, and then it's going to get even more cloudy towards the afternoon for race 2. So we're in round 2 of 5 tonight. This is how everyone was stacking up at the end of round 1. Nick Hodgson out there in his Audi A4 topping the charts with 80 points. Greg Hofart with 71, and Jonathan Benz rounding out the top 3 on 70, tied with Ross Bartle actually, also on 70 points. Nick, of course, getting the back-to-back race wins a couple of weeks ago. And that included obviously race 2 starting in 10th position. So he went from 10th up to 1st. So really awesome to see that. Can he do it again today, or will one of the other challengers beat him to it? In particular, it's a strong Audi field, and we do have a couple of other non-Audi manufacturers out there. Ross Bartle obviously being a favorite for just based on his position in the championship right now in his Honda Accord. And we've got a couple of other manufacturers further down. Assuming Wesley Farron makes it tonight, he is out in a Volvo. I know Sas van der Wes is also in a Honda. Rudy isn't making it tonight, otherwise he'd be in another Honda. And we have a scattering of BMWs around the place as well. Roxanne Bartle, Martin Quinnevolt, and Sheldon Agallis, I think, just to name a few. In terms of the qualifying, just how guys, these are the times really they're just putting out in practice, and from what I could pull off the leaderboards on Raceroom websites. So Nick Hodgson top times of the 1 minute 05.989, only guy to dip into the 1 minute 05s. James Leach with a seriously quick time up there as well though, 1 minute 6 dead pretty much. Mike LaRue a couple of tenths behind that. Greg Hofert neck and neck. René Leach, Michael Clay, and Rudy Opperman and Maslin Gamada rounding out at least the SimRace South African guys that put in times. And I'm going to cut to live pictures just so we can see what's going on. We're already in qualifying as we speak. It's just started. This is a couple of minutes in, so guys pretty much would have done their hot laps and are looking to get out there to put in their flying lap times. Currently on trackside here, helicopter cams with Ross Bartle in his Honda as he makes his way around the North circuit, just peeling back there onto the start finish line. He puts in a lap. It looks like just behind Nick Hodgson and Mike LaRue. You can see the times filtering in now on the top left hand side of your screen as the tower builds and grows in number. I think we're expecting about 16 drivers out there tonight, which I know there are a few skips. I think normally under normal circumstances we'd expect about 20. So still a good showing tonight. 16 guys, nice outing there on track. Guys and girls, should I say. Roxanne, I see you in chat. How's it? I'm not sure if you're racing tonight. I do know Emily is out there in Audi as well. Roxanne Bartle obviously shouting for Black Owl Sim Sports Racing, and at the very least, shouting for her brother Ross, who we're watching on stream now. Tricky circuit, especially with the variation in layout, but you can see there's some cones there in the background. A couple of them already been knocked over. Ross comes across the line again, just to put on another lap. Doesn't look like he's improved on his previous time. Meanwhile, in slot 4, James Leach manages to slot himself in. And let's see if we can get... this is on board currently with James Leach. And there's a couple of cars pulled off to the side of the racetrack. I think ahead we can see a Castrol livery Honda. I know that will be Seth van der Westhuizen. Another Black Owl Sim Sports driver. Looks like he's done a personal best in Sector 1. A little bit down potentially on Sector 2, assuming that's a live delta. Not actually sure offhand with the race from broadcast tool. But we'll see how he does. We'll stay with him. Feathering the throttle there. Looks like he's gone personal best in Sector 2 as well. Sector 3, he's charging up to the line now. This will be his first flying lap, assuming it was a clean one, and he slots in 12th at the moment, so he's got some work to do. So again, that was maybe just a little bit of a sighting lap for Sass, and he will make his way out there again, and we'll keep an eye on him for sure. Right now we are going to Michael Matthews in I think the highest place BMW provisionally right now. Oh, and as I said that, he does a solid bit of farming there and resets back to pits. Actually, I think that was. The camera's darting around. Yeah, that was. So we're back on Seth van der Westhuizen. And we'll watch as he attempts to improve his prior sort of banker lap, almost want to say. Not looking too competitive at all, but I'm sure he will look to improve. Again, PB sectors almost up a second and a half on that last lap, so this is looking good. Assuming that didn't invalidate, that almost looked like it was cutting it fine on, as we see in the foreground. Another Audi just running wide. So he improves a little bit, goes P11. I'm sure he'll want to try and at least get into the top 10, especially with the prospects of that reverse grid to come. Jonathan Bentz, as we flick there, now we're just hopping around a bit, thanks to the auto director. Michael Klein in his silver Audi with the red rings, chasing down the Kenwood Racing Hewlett-Packard red liveried Audi. I'll have to figure out who that is. There are obviously just such a lot of Audis out there on track, and assuming everyone's kept the same liveries as last week, I should be able to remember. There's Greg Hofart as well, Michael Klein. I think was it Maslin Govender? Potentially in one of those. Not convinced. The TV camera selection for today's track doesn't seem to be the best, unfortunately. We basically got a helicam. We've got a little bit of a static cam in places. This camera looks a little bit better, an action camera. There we go. Jason Underwood has actually got a very strong time at the moment in P3 as he crosses the line. I don't think there's any improvement in that lap, but still looking pretty solid. Just over half a second. That is delta to Nick Hodson's benchmark he set with a 105.737. Timo Smit also doing nicely for himself, up in P4 currently. And he goes to start another charging flying lap. Maslin Govender, currently P16. We know he's got pace in him as well. I'm sure he's going to look to improve on this flying lap of his, assuming he doesn't run into any traffic ahead of him. Certainly looking like a strong Audi fest up there for the moment. Almost the entire top 10 comprised of Audis. Only Mikhail Matthews is BMW and P9 currently splitting that. As I say that though, Ross Bartle manages to chip into the top 10. Just Timo Smith still holding P4. Mike LaRue, meanwhile, has pedaled his Audi up into P2 for Venomworks Racing with a purple sector, as you can see there in Sector 2. So just taking that away from Nick Hodson, and doesn't manage to better Nick's time on this lap. But look at that delta, though. It's 0.076 to Nick. Just banking back on Timo Smith at the moment. Just 20 seconds left of quali. In fact, we're already getting a results screen up on screen for some reason. Not sure what's going on with that clock. Maybe it's because other drivers had completed the laps and everyone else was on an out lap or had invalidated, so the game essentially calculated that no one is able to legally complete another lap, as we see they're going off track. So yeah, Nick Hudson will take pole position, 105.737. Mike LaRue for Venomworks Racing, 105.813. Jason Underwood for Jason Underwood Autos Racing, 106.302 takes your top three. Timo Smith essentially lining up on the second row of the grid in P4. We'll be back in just a second with some commentary. We have the formation lap about to start. It is a standing start for the race, so it's a small formation of the grid, should I say. So don't go anywhere, and I'll be back right with you in a sec. Right, we are back. I believe drivers have a full minute from the time of the session ticking over to get ready. But what's the nice thing about Racing is that if all drivers have indicated that they're ready, we'll start the clock immediately. And I think here we are. Lights are red. We are looking for 6 lights to go off. And we are green. We are racing. Oh, Nick seems to get bogged down on the start there, and it looks like Mike LaRue has got a massive jump on him, as does Jason Underwood. Nick will have the inside line. There are basically 3 abreast heading down into T1. Mike LaRue in the silver Audi. Let's see if he can sling it around. I think that's still Nick holding the inside, or was he? No, he's been pushed all the way back down. He's in P4 right now, so we've got Mike LaRue in P2, and Jason Underwood has taken the pole position for the time being. Timo Smith in P3. Nick had a terrible start there. He really got bogged down off the line. Perhaps he was even caught a little bit unawares or off guard by that start. Looking a little bit further down the field as well, the entire pack seems to have got away cleanly as well, which is always great to see. And good job everyone on that. And just having a look at Greg Hofart now in his Kenwood red. And we will cut to Auto Director as they attempt to automatically jump us onto some of the closest battles. Here we are, Timo Smith looking like all over the back of Nick Hodson. He's pulled out of the slipstream, and it's a drag race down the start-finish line, down the run into first corner. Will he be able to take it? You can see there in the background also, I think that is Bence, Jonathan Bence in the yellow, just trying to attack James Leach. So James Leach in one of the silver Audis with the red rings as well, and another side-by-side car just ahead of him. It's Timo Smith and Nick Hodson still going at it. As they run up the hill, we'll see a little bit of track limits here. Stewart's decision that the minor slowdown needs to happen onto Jonathan Bence, and that's that yellow car that you're seeing in the middle of your frame right now. So that's why that gap has just opened up in front towards James Leach, and that gap is because Jonathan Bence would need to have done a little bit of a slowdown. Greg Hofart has therefore come into the attack all over the back of Jonathan Bence. And we are meanwhile back up at the race for the lead here. Mike LaRue in P2 looking at the back of Jason Underwood. He's pulled out to the outside. I'm not sure you're going to get a move done around the outside. It should be... Oh, as I say that, now he's just gone and seeing if he can shove his nose in there. Very risky and very aggressive move there by Mike LaRue, but it's fended off by Jason Underwood. There we can see on the tower as well, the position changes off the lead. So Renier Leach unfortunately got a bit of a bad start. He's -4 positions. Who got an amazing start with Jonathan Benz. He's in P6 right now. He moved up 5 places from the start of this race, so he had a cracking start. And then obviously Nick Hodson losing out from pole position down to P3 right now to Jason Underwood and Mike LaRue, who we're seeing on screen at the moment. Brakes on for this tight little loop. And James Leach just getting a slowdown penalty there for track limit abuse. I'm sure you'll continue to see that stewards decision block rotating regularly in the top right hand corner with who's cutting. There can of course be minor cuts, but that stewards decision will remain on screen until that particular driver has cleared that penalty. So it does look like James Leach still needs to give that time back. He right now is currently sort of in the middle between Timo Smits and Jonathan Benz. I wouldn't say they're battling for position, so I think he's just, yeah, it's already been cleared. Drivers have up to a minute to clear that penalty, otherwise they will be looking at further stricter penalties in the form of drive-throughs or stop-goes. Look at this though, the top 2 drivers here. Mike LaRue still trying to put the pressure on Jason Underwood. Emily Benz meanwhile getting a little minus slowdown penalty. LaRue's all over the back of this. Can we see if we can get a dash cam footage? He's trying to pull, he's squeezing, oh, there's a little bit of contact. But thankfully in race room the netcode is really solid. You can rub doors without any impact really. Oh, look at the swing up the inside by Mike LaRue. Pretty aggressive. He's bouncing off, and I think that's actually just going to do himself more harm than good. And off track Mike LaRue goes and loses out on a couple of positions to Nick Hodson, Timo Smits and James Leach now, who have come through. We might see a stewards inquiry come in for that one. As I saw it just initially, I think may have been a little bit too aggressive by Mike. As I say that again, here he goes up the inside of James Leach. Those 2 liveries essentially looking the same. James Leach for now holding on to that higher position. Jonathan Benz is in the yellow Audi behind them, also just looking to join this fight. So a solid little battle here that's just suddenly developed with the introduction of Mike LaRue dropping down the order. Quick shout out to everyone in chat as well. I see Roxanne, you say unfortunately not racing due to a back injury. Supporting Black House Sim Sports nonetheless. Thanks for the support, and yeah, I hope you recover soon as well. How's it, Joe? Thanks for the awesome stream. It's a big pleasure, man. And yeah, I didn't see you racing tonight, but we have sorted out that registration bug, thankfully, so hopefully we'll see you in round 3. Still got a few rounds left in this championship, so round 3 we go off to Portimao. I do like that circuit and race room, lots of elevation changes. Then we're in Sepang again, but we'll be taking the South Circuit on before the finale back at the Raceway GP circuit. So yeah, lots to look forward to for the remainder of the season. Lots of slots still. Lots of space in the servers. Speaking of the servers, we just want to shout out to our sponsors, of course. Our gold sponsor that really makes all of this possible by hosting the race servers, which are the most expensive ones. Big thanks to JooTech Simworks. All their details are in the description of the YouTube video. They do some really awesome things, custom built rigs and such. They also make button boxes and a couple of other accessories. Looks like some big drag races happening down the pit straight there. If I can quickly see, is it Renier? Ooh, Renier Leach has a little bit of a wiggle, and that's, oh, some contact there as well. And Mikhail Matthews is in that mix. And yeah, muscling his way, and unfortunately also just gets boxed into a big corner there. And I think Ross Bartle as well, bringing on screen, was also involved in that kerfuffle, and it almost looks like he's yielding, so maybe he felt he was partly to blame for some of that. And just allowing a few of those other drivers to sail through. Sheldon Nagullis also in there in his Envirocar BMW, sporting the Funda Linda livery of old. Good evening, BRLS. How's it going? Good to see you. So Nick Hudson has made his way up to P2, but right now we are on board with Jonathan Bentz, who's pulled on the outside of James Leach and is looking to sail around the inside. There's a little bit of contact, but both cars going on the same way and just pulling up behind them as well. That's Greg Hofart in the mix. So these three guys battling for P5 essentially. Side by side here, Jonathan Bentz goes up the inside and takes that position away from James Leach. There's a little bit of a bump from behind. James Leach actually manages to pull alongside again now, so it's not over. I think Jonathan Bentz might have the advantage and I think is going to cement it now, but there's also Greg Hofart in the red Oryx Kenwood livery. Just looking to see if he can pick up any of these scraps here. It looks like he's going to survive though, but it is a longish pit straight, so let's see if James Leach can enjoy enough a bit of a tow. Goes defensive Jonathan Bentz up the inside. James Leach might have enough of an overlap though. Let's see, Jonathan Bentz in the yellows on the inside. Greg Hofart's also looking to creep up the inside. He has to back out of there just to avoid contact with James Leach, but that's compromised him somewhat, I think, and he's in a little bit of trouble, I would say. As we already pretty much approach the halfway mark of this race, and there's a strong mid-pack battle here. Meanwhile, at the top end of the field, Nick Hudson is still trying to hunt down Jason Underwood, but that gap is remaining fairly consistent from what I've seen at just over a second. So Jason Underwood is doing really well for himself to have put himself up in the lead from the start, essentially, after Nick tumbled down the order and managed to defend really well against Mike LaRue, who's currently holding P4. James Leach, oh, there's a little bit of contact there as I flick to him, and this is with Greg Hofart now. And it looks like Jonathan Bentz has managed to break away from that pack. Because there were the three of them together, of course. There's Renier Leach as well on the back of Emily Bentz now. And this is the battle for P9. Which is just ahead of Michael Klein sitting in P10, the coveted P10 position, of course. For race 2, he will be taking pole position, assuming he manages to hang on to that and no other position changes happen. James Leach, I'm helping him back for him because he's on the main straight and he's attacking Greg Hofart. Greg is on the inside here. Let's see what can happen down into turn 1. Greg's got a nice inside line. He's holding it nice and tightly too. He's not understeering into James Leach or anything nefarious like that. So really skilled driving there. Nailed the braking point and manages to hang on to it. Ross Bartle as well. Let's see what's hanging on to him. He's coming up the inside of Sheldon Nagullis to make that pass. So I was going to say to make that pass thick, but I think the battle is not done here. And they're still side by side. He does have the edge in the nose in front, however, and there we go, slips behind, does Sheldon Nagullis. Renier Leach hopping back to him. This is against Emily Bentz for P8 position. Emily doing a sterling job there of fending off Rainier Leach for the time being. Looking like some nice smooth lines there. Rainier Leach, conversely, we see just a little bit of twitching there. I'm not sure if that's latency or if he's actually just fighting the car, trying to keep it in a straight line. Mikhail Matthews is sucked in behind Martin Groenewald coming down the main straight. He's looking for a move, pulls out to the inside. He's going to have an advantage now with that overlap, and I think that if he gets his braking point done, this should be move made on Martin Groenewald, and I think that is easy as that, and that has bumped him up to P12. We'll look back at Rainier Leach now. Still looking to make progress onto Emily Bensia. Oh, there's a big dive up the inside. And oh, a little bit of argy-bargy from behind, but I think that's essentially move done and look pretty fair behind. We've got a big battle still. Michael Klein is also now looking to join this fight with Emily Benz just ahead. And that's Rainier Leach, who's obviously just got past Emily. Oh, interesting. What happened to Emily? Emily's heading into the pits. And that is an unexpected stop for Emily. There is no mandatory pit stop here, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. If there's something wrong with the setup, or perhaps there's damage to repair, or perhaps she just miscalculated the fuel situation with 6 minutes left to go. I'm not sure. Maybe she was carrying some qualifying fuel. I've done and made that mistake before. We'll have to hear from her post-race what happened there. That unfortunately caused Emily Benz to tumble down to the back of the pack. Nick Hodson now still in P2, looking to cut into Jason Underwood's lead. That time was a second gap. It's come down to about 0.7. And we will see within the 5 minutes remaining in this race, does Nick have anything up his sleeve to be able to catch Jason Underwood? But remember, catching is one thing, passing is another. So we'll have to see how this race progresses. Mike LaRue as well. I'm sure he's looking to try and secure a podium slot, podium positions in the championship. Obviously get a little bit more points compared to the rest of the field. And quite aggressive Timo Smith there, just shutting the door on Mike LaRue, but well within his rights to do so. And drivers looking reasonably clean, I'd say. I haven't seen as many stewards slowdown penalties as I did compared to last round. This is, for the time being, the closest battle on track. Mike LaRue onto Timo Smith further down the pack. I am keeping an eye on James Leach, who's behind Greg Hofart. And I'll have a quick look at Mikhail Matthews, actually, because he is about half a second behind Sas van der Westhuizen. BMW versus Honda Accord. And this will give you a good representation of that gap for now. But we do need to quickly hop to Mike LaRue, who is threatening Timo Smith here for P3. In the dying minutes of this race, he's pulled alongside for an overlap. He's going to try and dive down into that inside line, but Timo Smith takes a nice wide line and maintains that sort of momentum, speed and momentum. So well defended there and well driven, both drivers avoiding contact, but just sensible driving really from Tim Smith. James Leach looking to attack Greg Hofart here. Battle for P6. Again, a little bit of an overlap. And a huge overlap, in fact, and I'm sure he's going to pick a moment to swing out of the slipstream. He's managing to get the inside advantage. He puts on the brakes a little bit later. Can he hold a line? And it does look like he he has managed this. So solid overtake there. James Leach on Greg Hofart to take P6. We want to have a quick look at Mike LaRue. What is going on here? He is shifting through all the gears aggressively onto the back of Timo Smith. Almost don't know where to look because Greg Hofart is coming back at James Leach here. Tell you what is exciting, Sas van der Westhuizen has put his Honda into P10, and if he hangs on to this for the next 2 minutes, he will be starting in pole position for race 2. Meanwhile, Nick Hodson still looking to catch up to Jason Underwood. He's making strides. Oh, as I said, it has a minor slowdown, but it's almost instantly cleared, so that was marginal. You can actually all see them sort of pushing, and just stretching those limits. Mike LaRue now gets a small slowdown as we spectate him on the back of Timo Smith as well. But that gap, Nick Hodson, is somewhat consistent. It's actually slowed back now to 0.7 again. It was down to 0.5. Oh, and Mike LaRue just pulls out of the slip there. And we need to hop back to that battle. Thanks, cameraman. Timo Smith, this is a move in the making. Mike LaRue has sailed around, but it's not done. Look at this, up the inside. It's a big dive. There's heavy contact. They're rubbing. But most importantly, they're side by side. And it's going to be a drag race down the line. 56 seconds left of this race. They still have another lap to go. Look at that contact. They're just glued to each other. But the inside line is on Timo Smith. Mike LaRue now backs out and tries to take a nice wide line. And again, in an effort to maintain that momentum around the corner, Timo Smith, meanwhile, keeping it nice and tidy. But Mike LaRue has his nose in front for this next sort of corners. It will be Timo Smith on the inside though, so can he keep alongside and put pedal to the metal? And I think he has. Look at that, just slipped in front yet again. And what an outstanding battle here at the death to try and hang on to that podium spot, P3. It's not quite over. 8 seconds left of this race. And we do need to have a quick look. Where is Jason Underwood? The clock has officially hit 0 and he's going to cross the line. So he takes race 1 victory. Nick Hodson obviously just behind Timo Smith and Mike LaRue. So here they come. Timo Smith manages to hang on to that P3. What an awesome battle to watch though. Mike LaRue takes home P4. Jonathan Bentz P5. James Leach will come home P6. Greg Hofart will be in P7. Renier Leach P8. Michael Klein P9. And Sas van der Westhuizen, indeed, with a charging Mikhail Matthews behind, manages though to hang on to that final P10 position. Mikhail Matthews then P11. Mark Grinnell P12. Ross Bartle pulls up in P13. Mazlum Govender. This is the battle still ongoing here, side by side, and actually looks like he's just edged out Emily Bentz there. And then Sheldon McGullis will round the pack out for round 2 completion. There are the final times on the board. Mike LaRue gets the fastest lap of the race, finishes in P4 with 1:06.099. But of course, your race winner, Jason Underwood, takes it ahead of Nick Hodson and Timo Smith rounding out that podium. We'll be back in a short moment for race 2, and I'm looking forward to seeing that Honda on pole position. Sas van der Westhuizen looking to start off round 2. We are going to be back in just a few seconds with the formation lap. Do not go anywhere. Apologies for the extended mute period there. Let's go sort out some urgent admin. We are back here. I hope you've enjoyed the auto-directed pictures. Sas van der Weste is mostly getting swamped by a gaggle of Audis. He has been taken by Jason Underwood and he's under attack. I think that is Nick Hodson actually looking to take another position off him side by side. It is Mikhail Matthews in the BMW behind him. So at least we have a trio of manufacturers here. Sas in the Honda, Nick in the Audi, Mikhail in the BMW. As they come across your picture. Greg Hofart, meanwhile, as well, is in the middle of a sandwich of Mike McLean and Jason Underwood. This is the battle for P5 at the moment, but I'm going to just jump back to Nick Hodson, who's looking to take this fight. We'll see if we can take a cockpit camera, passenger seat chair almost, onto this battle with Sas van der Westhuizen. And onto the main back straight. There will be a little bit of a draft effect. And I think that Nick Hodson will probably attempt to move up the inside. He is definitely close enough before the corner. So here it comes. Pulls into the inside. He's got the inside line. And I fear that is another position lost from Sas van der Westhuizen, who does manage to sweep across the front of Mikhail Matthews' BMW to avoid losing 2 positions in 1 turn. Jason Underwood, meanwhile, ahead of him, is under attack by Greg Hofart. Maslin Govender as well is side by side with Ross Bartle. So this is Audi on Honda. And again, Ross Bartle, I think, just manages to stay ahead for the time being. There's a BMW in the mix as well. I think that's Martin Kronevold. Yep, that's Martin's... looks like a Welsh livery there. Is it? No, it almost looked like the Welsh Dragon with the red and the green, but a little bit closer inspection, it's the Basseyburg green and red turtle tortoise. Jonathan Bentz up in P2 here is about 0.67 seconds behind Mike Leroux. James Leach, meanwhile, gets a slowdown penalty, as does Jason Underwood. It's not going to help his cause, just trying to fight for P6. P7, Greg Hofart is catching up as we speak. Carl Matthews is looking to attack the back of Sas van der Westhuizen here. We'll stay on board for a little bit with Carl Matthews. Also just get to appreciate his driver's inputs. Gear changes in the wheels nonetheless. A little bit of a correction there to the steering. We do know that obviously the BMW, being rear-wheel drive, does like to kick the tail out. Be a little bit tail happy. I'm just going to have a quick look at this battle ahead of them though. Jason Underwood and Nick Hodson is in the mix here. On the back of Greg Hofart, who I think is getting mugged by the Rothmans livery cars. Jason Underwood, we know, is quick, having taken that race 1 victory, and he is putting all sorts of pressure. Oh, we may have even been in contact there. I'm not sure if we can get a closer picture. On board will do. Onto the back of Greg Hofart. Tell you what, Timo Smith as well. This is side by side with James Leach for position P3. Don't know where to look right now. There's a lot going on. Nick Hodson, Jason Underwood in the back of Greg Hofart. Carl Matthews and Sas as well, also in the mix for a good battle as they storm across the finish line. It's a good overtaking opportunity as well down into T1. Not sure if anyone's quite close enough to do that. Possibly Jason on Greg. Greg is in the red, and it looks like he's lost out on 1, possibly 2. No, he manages to slide into the middle of the 2. So Greg Just losing out of position to Jason Underwood, but he's managed to keep Nick Hudson at bay for now. Timo Smith is over the back of James Leach. We'll keep close ties on that one. Really commenting. Not much of a mugging, to be honest. Honest just gives over the wallet and the phone. Sad but true, yes. Greg, meanwhile, trying to fight off Nick Hudson and stay in the mix to Jason Underwood ahead, but I feel that Jason Underwood is going to have an easier time of staying ahead. Rainier Leach is about to get past, or has just, I think. There we go. No, he hasn't. Apologies. Martin Groenewold manages to stay ahead of Rainier Leach. Still, this battle for P6 continues. Nick Hudson at the back of this train, still looking to try and get past Greg Hofart, who's doing a sterling job of defending against Nick. Maybe even been a little bit of contact there of a front fender to rear fender. Just looking at what's going on behind as well. Thas van der Westhuizen is doing an excellent job of keeping that BMW at bay. And oh, look at them all going super defensive up the inside and then shoot to the outside. Jason Underwood trying to go around Mark McLean. Greg Hofart's in the mix. You can look over the rear wing and see that battle of Greg Hofart and Nick Hudson. But we have to go to Timo Smith, and this is the fight with James Leach. The director's board is going crazy, telling me there's battles all over. Mikhail Matthews has gotten even closer to Thas van der Westhuizen, who's running very defensive here. I think is going to hang on to that position again, so continues to be excellent driving here. Ooh, a little bit wide there, Mikhail. I think Mikhail, just the extent that he has to push in that BMW, likes to kick the tail out. Jason Underwood now, so this must be a passing opportunity. Michael Klein, and they're almost too wide, 2 by 2 as they head into the first corner. Jason Underwood is going to stay ahead of Michael Klein, and that's Greg and Nick as they were before. Just behind, we're going to go and see what this is over the rear wing of Greg Hofart, looking onto Nick Hudson. So we saw just Greg Hofart managing to stay ahead of Michael Klein there, who got it all wrong into the braking into turn 1, and that's relieved some of the pressure to Nick Hodson, at least what Nick had onto the back of Greg Hofart, with Michael Klein now slipping in between these two guys. But can he come back at Greg Hofart? This is the drag race up the main straight. Look at the speed differential. Michael Klein is going to pull to the outside. Greg Hofart doing the right thing essentially and holding that inside line to defend. Michael Klein just looking to squeeze Greg as much as possible, being a little aggressive there, but up the inside Greg goes, and I think he should be able to keep that overlap. Nick Hudson's still there in the tail as well, looking to see if he can pick up any scraps. Matthews still over the wing of Sas van der Westhuizen. BMW all over the mirrors there. Oh, Nick Hudson diving up the inside of Michael Klein, and that is going to take a position away to take P7. Michael Klein is going to try and come back at Nick Hudson. I think he needs to pull into the inside early if he's going to try and make it move. There he goes up the inside. Let's see if he has... Oh, there's a little bit of an understeer, and he almost drifts his way in between the two, but he's run wide as a result. But I think he's going to get away with it. And a great pass in the end there on Nick Hudson. More contact here. Nick Hudson just trying to muscle his way through. It does look like for now Michael Klein has a little bit of a breathing room to Nick Hudson, but it is this main straight and he's already running very defensive as I say that, just because of how powerful that draft is. Also in the foreground there you're seeing Sas van der Westhuizen and Mikhail Matthews. Mikhail's going for a big dive up the inside. Can he make it stick though? Oh, look at that car control. He brings it back in nicely. And that BMW has taken position away from that Honda. Nick Hudson still trying to stay glued to the back of Michael Klein, basically. But I am looking at what's happening in the rear of your picture as well. You can see Sas van der Westhuizen and just seeing if he can come back at Mikhail Matthews here. Timo Smith, meanwhile, he's coming down the main straight and is looking to see if he can take this fight to James Leach. He's got the inside line. It looks like he's going to keep a nice true line to take that position and bank it. I had that the other way around, apologies. So James Leach is in the silver Audi and manages to stay ahead of Timo Smith for the time being. Timo Smith looking to see if he can come back at James Leach here. James manages to get P3. I tell you that Mike LaRue, currently out in P1, has the fastest lap right now. So I think with a somewhat healthy 2-second lead to Jonathan Bentz, he might run away with this race, all going well. There's still a long period to go, 26 minutes. I'd even start running into some back markers, which could cause some turmoil. So we'll have to see how things progress for now. But Mike LaRue having done really well for himself from the start, up 6 positions to make it up to P1. Greg Hofart, if anyone, I think he's lost 2 positions off the start of this race. Started in P4. And still has Nick Hodson behind him though, so doing a sterling job of defending against that impeding attack. Here we go for another attempt though, down the main straight. I don't think Nick's close enough though. But stranger things have happened. As I say that, Nick is pulling to the inside. I take back my words. And that is a clean move done in the end. So apologies for my lack of faith. Some may find it disturbing. But that is a nice, good, clean pass there by Nick Hodson onto Greg Hofart. And that was more than enough distance coming down the main straight for him to execute a pass cleanly and make it stick. On board here again down the main straight, Timo Smith looking at the back of James Leach. Is he close enough to make a move? We've seen Nick make it possible. He's going to the inside. Nope, he's slipping back in. Just had a little look. Nice flyby shots here of Sas van der Westhuizen in his Castrol liveried Honda Accord for Blackhouse Sim Sports Racing. Nice use of the curbs there. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's driving this car as well as can be. Right-hand drive Honda, of course. But I think it's just a little outclassed by the Audis. I think it could compete with BMWs. Ross Bartle as well, seeing a slowdown penalty for his Honda. This is a nice battle developing here. Mikhail Matthews in his BMW is looking at the back of Michael Klein. I do like to see it. Let's go on board with Mikhail for a little bit. Watch him slide this BMW around. I'm sure you're going to see a little bit of counter steer. This is leading down into T1, down the main pit straight, of course. Not close enough for any sort of dive. That always closing door, not close enough for Mikhail Matthews to think about it. There's clean lines here actually in the BMW. squealing to close it up for that corner. Michael Klein just doing really well to defend and hug that curb, essentially not opening any doors. But look at the overlap and speed differential Mikhail Matthews manages to get here. And we're wondering if you can just carry any of that onto this back straight. Oh, we looked like he lost out a little bit there, just correcting. Because that's where it's going to be most critical if he wants to try and get close enough to make a dive up the inside of T1. Timo Smith, meanwhile, looking at the back of James Leach. This is the battle for P3, the final podium slot. Up for grabs. We're basically halfway through this race, just past 21 minutes to go out of 45. Looking back at Mikhail Matthews, he's again attacking Michael Klein, and he's managed to somewhat get side by side as he tucks back in again, but there will be swapping. Oh, big slide by Mikhail Matthews, and he catches that but runs, and you can see immediately that time penalty come in. It cleared almost immediately, so just the minor. So I'm sure he's having a fun time behind the wheel sliding that BMW around, but a frustrating time perhaps. As he just seemingly can't find a way past Michael Klein after catching up regularly, it seems, just not able to find a gap right now for the time being. This otherwise the closest battle on track, Timo Smith has James Leach ahead of him, but also Jason Underwood company behind. So very quickly, this is a battle for P3 developing here, with a third car joining it. Jason Underwood, the Rothmans livery, but representing JU Autos Racing. Renier Leach gets a slowdown penalty. That's for P12. So Mark Leary just getting a smidgen of a speed penalty, track limits abuse, slowdown penalty, should I say. But meanwhile, Jason Underwood, this is the closest battle on track right now. He is looking to join this battle for P3, the final podium slot, led by James Leach at the moment. Jason Underwood has caught up a significant amount to the back of Timo Smith and James Leach. "18 minutes left of this race. I'm sure we're going to see these guys bunch up even closer, just looking at the pace differences between them. Jason Underwood, you pull up some lap times. His average lap is a 106.9 versus James and Timo ahead are in the 107.4, so significantly faster average consistent lap time from Jason Underwood, which is explain how he's manages to catch up here to the back of him. And I'm sure very shortly is going to start challenging Timo Smith for that P4 position. We're looking over the rear wing of James Leach for this battle we're talking about that's developing. I'm pretty sure of the three, it's going to be Jason Underwood that would have the first sort of position change. He's worked hard to catch up, but he needs to get closer if he's going to make a dive. Speaking of dives, there up the inside goes Timo Smith. Oh, the inside, but is he still there? He's thinking about it, but James Leach is somewhat slamming that door shut. But he has lost out. And it's not happening for the time being. Jason Underwood, meanwhile, has got almost side by side with Timo Smith. In fact, he's just got past Timo Smith. Jason Underwood, there we go. So he's managed to make that first move, and he's going to be looking to charge on ahead to James Leach in the silver Audi. Difficult to tell with these Rothmans liveries, they're both the same here, but that is definitely Jason Underwood ahead. Whoa! What's going on there? That is James Leach in the pits. Okay, so he's pulled in. I'm sure this is a planned stop, given how early it is, but he has come into the pits. Hopefully he doesn't get a speeding ticket, and he manages to pull up to the required limit of however many kilometers an hour. It looks like it's 60 kilometers an hour in the pit lane, and that is released. Timo Smith and Jason Underwood carry on their merry way for P3 and 4. So here we go, pit stops are starting. James Leach being the first to bite on a pit stop. Will we see any other cars in the pits as well? Or we'll try and ride it out to the finish? Time will tell. James Leach, drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, I'm not sure if there was on entry or exit, but he has exceeded that 60 kilometers an hour at some point. And he will need to execute a drive-through penalty. I'm not sure how many laps offhand he has to do it. It might be 1, it might be 3. It might be unlimited, I'm actually not sure. Just given the relative inexperience with doing drive-through penalties in race room. But I'm hoping he sees that message. Someone can be on the ringer to him. Get it done. Nick Hodgson, meanwhile, is caught up a little bit here to Timo Smith. In fact, caught up a lot. That is close enough. We've seen Nick execute dives into T1 from a closer position. So will it happen here? Let's see. Rear wing of Timo Smith. No dive up here. Yeah, oh. Was going to do it mid-corner as opposed to into the corner, but nope, that door got slammed shut by Timo Smith. And on the way to go. Oh, almost just running deep there. I think that was a mistake from Nick, or maybe just got unsighted by the brake marker of Timo Smith. Just the difference on where he was braking compared to Nick. Sheldon Nagullis, meanwhile, as we joined the helicam, was almost all over the back of Maslin Govender. We hop back to Nick Hodgson. Trackside cams. I agree, Rudy, in chat. Post-race feedback would be really interesting to see 70-30 split. If any of the pit stops were planned or misjudged. Yeah, it would be really interesting to hear and see from the driver. Sasson University isn't getting a slowdown penalty. He continues to slide his Honda around. And he is about 5.5 seconds behind Mark at Groenewold. Somewhat leading a bit of a lonely second half of this race. I think Sass is almost alone on track here, as you can see from the pictures. But I'll tell you who's not alone is Nick Hudson, again trying to take this fight to Timo Schmidt up the inside of T1. He's going to come... Oh, I was going to say he's going to come back at him. But Timo Schmidt does a sterling job of fending off Nick here. I'm going to quickly go on board cockpit cam, sorry, with Nick, but where is Timo? There is Timo, so Nick's actually ahead. This is on board with Timo Schmidt. Nick is ahead. And there he is. Nick has managed to sail through, take that position away. P4. Matthews on the back of Michael Klein, the BMW, looking to fight. Sweeping long shot here at the circuit. It'd almost make a good spectator slot if you were there in real life. It's the Sepang North circuit. It is Ross Bartle coming through in his Honda in the back of Emily Benz. James Leach now in P16. Not sure if he's currently holding P16 at the back because he's served his drive-through penalty. I'm not sure if we saw that being served or not. Or if that's just a result of him being, I think, the only car that's pitted so far. Oh, heavy contact here. It's Jason Underwood, I think, with Greg Hofart. Greg... Oh, oof. That's not Greg Hofart. Apologies. Who's that coming through? It's Maslin Govender who is in a collision with Jason Underwood. Apologies for that misrepresentation of the drivers. Greg Hofart's being in the same livery and was in the same position, which is why I initially assumed. That is a back marker, so I think there was a blue flag racing incident causing that collision. And we'll need to have a closer look at it with the stewards if the protest gets logged, of course. But both cars managing to get underwear again, and I don't think too much implication to Jason Underwood here, who's obviously continuing. Looking real speedy here. Mikhail Matthews on the back of Michael Klein. This is the battle for P7. Greg squealing, biting the wheel, but almost looks like Michael Klein was too, just based on the characteristics of the car up front. Is Mikhail Matthews close enough to think about diving into T1 here? I'm not so certain. He's running defensive regardless, Michael Klein, which is the right thing to do, I think. And he'll try and hold that inside line, keep the understeer in check. And there's a little bit of a door opening there, but I think that's enough of an advantage for Michael Klein to just shut the door on Mikhail Matthews. Very close here under braking. You saw that almost contact. There's a potential move on here. Look at how close and how aggressive they're going. Mikhail Matthews looks right. There's no space. He goes left. He goes extreme now around the outside, and he's literally doing it around the outside. Oh, almost loses control, just trying to fight the slide of that BMW rear kicking out. And I think in the end it's a fantastic move. Dare I say move of the day in my books for what I've seen. Fantastic there, just to sweep around the outside and hold that position and take anything away from an Audi in my books right now. Fantastic showmanship on track. And great move. I tell you, that Honda does sound nice though when it blasts past. Good exhaust note. And a nice shot of the track there, the north side of Sepang. There's the prop of the Honda Accord coming past from SAS van der Westhuizen. There's another Honda. Ross Bartle ahead gets a slowdown penalty. Currently sitting in P10, respectable mid-pack here for Ross Bartle in a Honda. I think the fastest Honda out on track there today. I'm just checking fastest laps. He's got a 107.027 SAS with a 107.299. So a couple of tenths behind Ross Bartle. Just a nice comparison here. I'm going to put Mikhail Matthews and Greg Hofart up on the screen. And Mikhail catch up to Greg. Look at the comparison of the top speeds. 224-ish, I think, are very similar actually between the Audi and the BMW, what it looked like there. And this is the battle for V6. V6, I say V6, I was reading the chat there. JooTech kicking in on the Honda, yeah. Slim Govender gets a slowdown penalty. But this is the closest battle on track right now. Mikhail Matthews onto the back of Greg Hofart. Yeah. Mikhail looking to fiddle his way up the field here even further. And he take a fight to Greg Hofart. We know Greg is looking nice and consistent in his lap time. Let's have a look. Greg, as I say, just to back up that statement with some stats, Greg Hofart's got a consistency in this race of 99.18%. Mikhail 98.66%, but on the attack here, Mikhail Matthews is looking up the inside. He has a little look. Running wide is Greg Hofart, and that's going to give the position away to Mikhail Matthews as Greg Hofart has a slide in the background. And he's going to lose out of position to Michael Klein as well. So the pressure getting to him here, and Greg Hofart slipping down 2 positions. Sheldon Nagullis here is battling for position against James Leach as well. In the battle for P14. In 24 kilometers an hour, James Leach doing at the back end before hard braking for T1. So just 30 seconds left in this race. In fact, time has suddenly just vanished. Lap 40, Mike LaRue is on. And rounding that final corner with 20 seconds left, meaning he will need to do another lap. The final lap starting now for Mike LaRue. Jonathan Bence is 5.7 seconds across the line. He goes now behind Nick Hodson, 2 seconds gap. Taking P3 if he wants to accelerate. It's going to be a tough ask to close up in the final lap. Clock officially hits 0. We'll be keeping a close eye on any gaps that we can see that are standing out, but for now I think the closest gap on track, possibly this one. Jason Underwood, 2.3 seconds. And Timo Smith battle for P4. Peru, though, take all the credit. And this is race 2 victory for Mike LaRue, who slides across the finish line, elated with that. I think after it was a P3 or 4 he had in race 1, so that's a fantastic pool of points he's taken out of tonight's racing. Jonathan Bence and Nick Hodson will take P2 and 3 respectively. Timo Smith takes home P4, Jason Underwood P5. Mikhail Matthews comes across the line now. He had a top drive here, P6, apologies, Mikhail Matthews. Michael Klein did really well as well. Greg Hofbart, great job out there for P8 today. Emily Bence crosses the line, P9. And we'll see Ross Bartle rounding the final corner in his Honda to take P10. Top 10 finish for the Honda. Martin Groenewold in his BMW will finish P11 ahead of Sas van der Westhuizen, who rounds the final corner now to come across the line, P12. And frustrated with his race, he slams into the wall. Renier Leach, P13. James Leach, P14. Sheldon Nagullis takes home P15. And Maslin Govender rounds out the pack in P16 tonight. So that's how the chips fell. Mike LaRue took fastest lap in race 1, but it was Nick Hodson who took fastest lap in race 2. But it's all important race win for Mike LaRue in race 2 for Venomworks Racing. And big kudos to him for a solid finish. After 45 minutes, that is not an easy task in these cars. And I just want to have another quick thank you to everyone for keeping us company here on the live chat, for your support, for your offline likes and subscribes that I'm sure will follow. And a really big thank you to everyone. I hope you have a great evening further. I'm going to go and head to do some rallying for myself, and we'll see some of you over on my Twitch stream for that. But for now, the rest of us, have a great evening, and ciao ciao for now.